Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss the course overview of computer network. So as per your syllabus, I have listed down all the 7 units. Okay. So first unit is all about the introduction to computer network. Basically, we will learn in this unit what is the computer network, what are the basic terminologies used in computer network, then network models in the sense what is the architecture used to set up a network. So basically we have two types of network models, client server model and peer-to-peer architecture. Then we will see OSI and TCP IP model. OSI model is a ISO standard reference model which consists of all aspects of network communication. Network communication in the sense it's a layer architecture. All the 7 layers we will describe, we will learn briefly in the next units. But in this unit I will just give a brief idea of how a data is transmitted from layer to layer and what are the protocols used, devices used in each of the layers. So then comes the TCP IP model. The full form is transmission control protocol or internet protocol. Now this is actually a working model and it is prior to OSI model. So TCP IP model is a protocol suite that defines how all transmissions are exchanged across the layer, across the internet layer. Okay. Then we have the next unit is physical layer. So the name itself suggests the physical connections. Physical connection in a computer network. So what can we are going to learn here? This is basically the transmission medias. Transmission medias can be wireless or wired. To set up a physical connection, we require either wireless medias or wired media. Wired media in the sense cable connections, and wireless media in the sense we can have satellite connections, Bluetooth connections. So these are things we are going to cover in the transmission media part. And then again we will also see what are the topologies. Topologies in the sense how a connection of computer network will be set up. It's a diagrammatic representation of setting up a computer network. Then we will see what are the transmission modes. A data when transmitted can be a one-way transmission modes or can be transmitted simultaneously. So in this part we will see basically we have 3 types of transmission modes. We will discuss it later on. Then comes the data link layer. Data link layer. In this layer we will see framing and switching of data. Now what is framing? Like whenever we need to send a data from the source to destination, then the source and destination address has to be attached to the data, to the packet. So that is done with framing. Okay. So in detail we will learn in the future. And also we will learn what are the protocols and devices used in data link layer. Basically IEEE 802.3 and IEEE 802.5 protocols. Then comes data link layer. In this layer we will learn about framing, switching techniques and data link layer protocols. Like for transmitting a data we need source and destination address. So basically the MAC addressing and IP addressing are attached to a frame. So on that part we will see how framing is done in data link layer. Then we have network layer. Network layer is the important layer where actually the routing takes place. So here we deal with the IP addressing. IP addressing is a logical addressing. It's a unique address. Unique address when we are transmitting your data in a network, then each device is given a unique address. So how this IP addressing is given, and basically we are IPv4 or 32-bit IP addressing, and this is IPv6. And then we will also see what is packetizing. What is packetizing? And the protocols used here are like since we are dealing with the IP addressing and MAC addressing from physical address, so data link layer for framing, it will take the logical address from the network layer and MAC address from the physical layer for data transmitting. So in this layer we are having some protocols which deals with the address. So it's address resolution protocol. So packetizing is a process which converts the data from the upper layer. It takes the data from the upper layer. Upper layer is the transport layer. It takes the data from the transport layer and then turn it to packets. That is known as packetizing. Now here I have written ARP. It's a protocol, address resolution protocol. Now it's a network level protocol. Its main function is how to map the IP address to the MAC address. IP address is the logical address and MAC address is the physical address, so that we can communicate, the devices can communicate in a network. Then we have transport layer. So basically transport layer, we have two types of services, like it's a connection oriented service and a connection less service. For here I have written two types of protocols which deal in this layer, that is UDP, user datagram protocol, and TCP, transmission control protocol. So TCP is connection oriented transmission and UDP is connection less transmission protocol. Connection oriented in the sense it receives acknowledgement from the sender after receiving, but connection less means it does not receive acknowledgement from sender. Then again we will see actually process to process communication takes place in transport layer, and segmentation and reassembly. Now what is segmentation and reassembly? When the transport layer receives data from application layer from its upper layer, then the data is segmented. It is divided into smaller units, which is known as segments. And each segment is given a sequence number, so that when the data goes to the destination place, the data can be rearranged. So in the sender side we basically see segmentation, and in the receiver side when the data is reached we see it as a reassembly. So through that sequence number the data is rearranged and sent to the upper layer. Upper layer means from transport to the application layer. So the last and the topmost layer, the uppermost layer in a OSI reference model or TCP/IP model is the application layer. Application layer in the sense like we all are using some sort of web applications. Okay, so it is nearer to user. Application layer is nearer to user, and all the web pages which we are working needs to follow some protocols. These are DNS, HTTP, FTP, SMTP, etc. So we are going to discuss about all these protocols in application layer. Okay. And the last unit is, we can see network devices. Since we are dealing with the computer network, networking devices are must. So in each of the layer, what type of devices we require? For example, NIC, hub, repeater, router, switch, etc. All these type are physical devices which we require in each layer, so that our data transmission can be done easily. NIC actually is a network interface card which provides the MAC address to the physical computer. Hub is a networking device which gives advantage of multiple ports, so that multiple computers can be connected to a central networking device. So NIC and hub basically they are working in the physical layer for physical connections, repeater also. And router, as we have seen, routing is done in the network layer. So it's a device which is used in the network. Now this switch is used basically in network layer and data link layer, because from the physical layer we get the MAC address, and from the logical layer, from the network layer we get what? IP address, logical address. So when the packets are framed, the framed packets are given the logical address as well as the physical address, so that we can transmit the data to the destination easily. So this is all about your syllabus for computer network for the current semester. Thank you.